a rookie minesweeper, discovers a major explosive during a training mission. He quickly orders his teammates to retreat, while he handles the situation alone. Dima monitors from the rear, guiding him. Following Dima's instructions carefully, the rookie sweeps away loose dirt. After finding the wires, he chooses the blue one to cut. With steady hands, he snips it. Luck was on his side, the bomb is successfully defused. The team erupts in cheers of relief. Meanwhile, Dima gets distracted by a beautiful, mixed-race woman named Jamie. She's frustrated by the lack of phone signal. Noticing her distress, Dima enthusiastically reconnects the signal for her. He explains that the jamming device was activated due to the mission. Dima becomes completely absorbed in Jamie, failing to notice that the trainees have started celebrating by dancing in the minefield. By the time Dima realizes, it's too late. The explosion happens in an instant. The massive blast sends debris and bodies flying. Those nearby are either shredded by the blast or crushed by debris. Dima is knocked unconscious. When he wakes up, his mind is still hazy. He hears phantom sounds. Rescue personnel frantically try to drag him to the helicopter, but he insists on taking the unconscious Jamie with him. Reluctantly, the rescuers prioritize Dima and leave. When Dima finally recovers, he learns that Jamie was sent back to Syria. The military placed the blame for the explosion squarely on Dima. He was ordered to retire and return home. However, after recovering, Dima wanted to return to the battlefield, partly to honor his fallen comrades, and partly because he couldn't stop thinking about Jamie. Before boarding a flight to aid Syrian forces, one of his teammates had a sudden seizure. Seizing the opportunity, Dima approached a general and expressed his determination to return. The general relented, assigning him to a young and inexperienced unit. However, one of the team members, who had failed 4 missions in the past, posed a significant challenge for Dima. During an operation to capture a small town, Dima's unit witnessed the horrors of war. Even from their rear position, a Russian tank was hit by a hail of bullets from the terrorists and disabled. The driver, engulfed in flames, jumped out of the tank. Seeing this, Dima ran to the driver's side despite the danger. With help from his comrades, he managed to extinguish the flames using a fire blanket. Reinforcements arrived with another tank, and the battle ended in victory. However, a new challenge soon emerged. The road ahead for the Russian troops was littered with deadly mines. Dima, leading the minesweeping team, moved carefully. With a mine detector, they meticulously scanned the ground. Suddenly, Dima sensed something unusual. Looking up, he noticed a thin wire, nearly invisible to the eye. A chilling realization struck him. This wire was connected to another mine. The wire was nearly invisible. It only became visible under sunlight, reflecting faintly. Dima noticed several similar wires nearby. Each wire had grenades attached to both ends. This setup was far beyond the capacity of traditional mine-clearing techniques. It was unprecedented. Dima immediately ordered his team to retreat. He called for a high-tech mine-clearing vehicle. This mine-clearing vehicle was no ordinary machine. It had a reputation in the Russian military. Designed for both minor and major battlefields, it could withstand up to 60 kilograms of explosives. With a 360-degree panoramic view, it could be remotely controlled by engineers from kilometers away. It could detect and neutralize various anti-tank mines. Its front was equipped with a 1.8-meter-wide bulldozer blade, paired with mine-clearing devices, to detonate mines efficiently. With its assistance, the Russian army neutralized the entire minefield without losing a single soldier. Just as they completed their task, they were deployed to clear mines at a refinery. Upon arrival, they quickly discovered a bomb. As Dima prepared to defuse it, he noticed another wire buried in the ground. Cautiously, he followed the wire to its other end, where he found 2 insurgents preparing to set up a massive bomb. Dima acted swiftly, shooting one of them. The other insurgent, holding a remote detonator, attempted to activate the explosives. Dima lunged, grabbing his hand, and, in a split second, neutralized him with a precise shot. Wasting no time, he dismantled the detonator. Looking up, he realized the location was rigged, with enough explosives to level the entire refinery. Just as one crisis ended, another began. The insurgents initiated their backup plan. A convoy of 4 small vehicles appeared. Among them was a truck loaded with explosives, racing toward the refinery at full speed. The Russian soldiers tried to stop it with the hail of bullets, but the truck's body was reinforced with steel plates. The bullets couldn't penetrate its armor. They called for a rocket launcher. A rocket was fired at the truck, slowing it down slightly. However, the truck kept accelerating toward the refinery. The soldiers scrambled to find cover. Just before it reached the refinery entrance, another rocket hit the truck's undercarriage, causing it to overturn. Dima quickly ordered everyone to evacuate. Despite flipping over, the truck continued to slide forward, due to its momentum. Moments later, the entire refinery exploded into a massive fireball. The area was engulfed in flames. After the chaos subsided, Dima decided to report the incident immediately. He also addressed his repeated unauthorized orders. This resulted in him being temporarily removed from the team. In the next bomb disposal mission, Dima accompanied a young soldier. They first evacuated the nearby villagers. Before proceeding, carefully, they began inspecting the well for hidden explosives. The situation proved extremely challenging. 2 bombs were discovered, suspended along the walls of the well. While Dima pondered his next move, a distant explosion was heard. Assuming the disposal team had completed their task, Dima was about to celebrate, but before he could, the sound of gunfire erupted nearby. It was clear that something had gone wrong. Filled with urgency, Dima grabbed 2 soldiers and rushed to investigate. He pressed himself against the wall, hiding from sight. Using agile movements, he dodged the enemy's pursuit. Now with the enemy clearly in view, Dima and his team quickly cleared out the insurgents. However, they discovered a party member had been killed in an explosion, and the team's leader was missing. Due to the language barrier, Dima struggled to gather information. Eventually, he learned that Kirill had been taken by the insurgents, and his fate was uncertain. Faced with this dire situation, the Central Command dispatched one of Russia's elite special forces, the GRU Special Forces, also known as the Main Intelligence Directorate. They were sent to Syria for this mission. While en route via helicopter, the aircraft was targeted by anti-aircraft missiles from the insurgents. The pilot, calm under pressure, deployed flares, successfully diverting the missile's trajectory. However, the insurgents refused to give up. They brought out rocket launchers, their ultimate weapon. The Russian forces attempted to use the same diversion tactic, but this time it failed to stop the rocket. The missile struck the helicopter, causing severe damage. The engine caught fire, trailing thick smoke. Despite the situation, the Russian forces refused to stay on the defensive. They launched a counterattack on the insurgents' position. A barrage of rockets landed, catching the celebrating insurgents off guard. The insurgents scrambled to adjust their strategy. As the helicopter drew closer, the insurgents opened fire directly. Already damaged, the helicopter was battered by gunfire. In moments, thick black smoke began pouring from the aircraft. The engine lost power completely. The special forces attempted an emergency landing, but the insurgents, riding motorbikes, chased them relentlessly. They were determined not to give the Russian forces any chance to escape. Some insurgents even recorded the pursuit with their cameras. Eventually, the helicopter crashed. All GRU operatives and the 2 pilots on board were killed. In the aftermath of this tragedy, a furious command ordered 4th-generation fighter jets to bomb the insurgents' hideouts. This revealed the harsh reality of Russia's operations in the Syrian battlefield. The indiscriminate shelling obliterated an ancient city. Dima, enraged and resolute, was once again called into action. This time, his mission was to accompany the Syrian army to Palmyra to recover the bodies of the fallen GRU operatives. During this operation, Dima encountered Jamil, a person he had long suspected. Jamil confessed his feelings, and they agreed to marry once the mission ended. However, Dima led a raid on an educational facility and uncovered a terrorist plot. In a hail of gunfire, many insurgents were killed or injured. Dima used a heavy machine gun to suppress the remaining terrorists. But in a phone found at the scene, Dima uncovered Jamil's true nature. He realized Jamil was working with the terrorists. Dima confronted Jamil once again and executed him on the spot. Jamil, pleading and desperate, tried to justify his actions as survival tactics. He claimed he was forced to cooperate with the terrorists. Dima, however, was horrified, realizing that their first encounter was nothing but a deliberate setup by Jamil and his group. Minds were being cleared. Dima began to realize the truth here. When he first picked up Jamil's phone, it triggered a series of events. The terrorists had received instructions to sacrifice many of their young recruits. These recruits, who had a promising future, also wanted to survive. Through mutual exchanges, both sides began to understand each other's positions. It seemed no one was entirely wrong, yet everyone bore some fault. Faced with Jamil's pitiful expression, all Dima could respond with was a single gunshot. On a cold, lonely night, filled with a desolate silence, Dima received critical intelligence. It turned out, Chitian had not died after all. Instead, he was being used as a bargaining chip by the rebels. Meanwhile, the Russians had captured a terrorist prisoner. Dima personally led the operation to the exchange site. But just as the exchange was about to take place, suddenly broke free and ran desperately toward their side, the rebel hostage. However, Chitian stood motionless where he was. Dima immediately sensed something was wrong. He approached cautiously. Chitian revealed that he was wearing a suicide vest. Dima realized it was a motion-triggered bomb. He instructed Chitian not to move. Carefully, he began defusing the bomb. After painstakingly disconnecting the visible wires, Dima decided to cut open Chitian's jacket. But as he removed the vest, he discovered a hidden timer on the back. At that moment, only seconds remained. But now it was impossible to disarm. Due to the bomb's sensitivity, any change in height would trigger the explosion. So, Dima held onto the top of the vest, allowing Chitian to escape below. He urgently ran for his life. With just seconds remaining, he gave Dima a complex look. As he saw this brave soldier sacrificing himself to honor Dima, Chitian ran with all his strength. At the moment of the explosion, he felt as though he saw his daughter at their wedding. A reunion lost to war. The woman he loved, Jamil, now on the other side of the battlefield. In the instant the soldier walked past, His soul seemed to shatter with his body. Dima would return him to his loved ones. For war is unforgiving. Dima had lost the warmth of family, and had to shoot his loved one. For on the battlefield, death is ever present. And any beauty will ultimately be destroyed by war.